Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 139 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We've actually got 5 main formats of our show. So first, we have 40 and Fortitude episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand. So we go over our anecdotal experiences with things like mindset and mentality, and we then pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have physical vitality episodes. Now, in these episodes, we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. In these episodes, we cover everything to do with the gym, nutrition, workouts, mental toughness programs like 75 Hard, fitness programs. We also talk about supplements, untapped training, which is alive and well. If you guys have any questions, interests, concerns, even though there are none, about untapped training, please reach out to us. We are more than willing to help you out in any way we possibly can. And sometimes we will take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those. Guys, those physical vitality episodes are full of free games, so make sure you pay attention to those.
That was such a good slip-in. Because there's no concerns.
No, there's not.
That was awesome.
0.
Oh, man. All right, guys. So on to our third format now. That's our breaking news format, which could include today's episode as well. It's a current event-based format. So when we go over current events, current articles going on in the world, different things happening in the world, whether it's U.S.-based or maybe even world sometimes, because a lot of world wars, that type of stuff, etc. Big events like the U.S. election is another thing we talk about, which is part of the post-talk we'll be talking today. Now, guys, keep in mind, those episodes are not doom and gloom. That's not our brand at all. We're not going to do them every single week. Just because health and fitness, like Wurtz said, is our main focus to work with here. We are focused on that, not bringing you some sad and downtrodden news from the world going on. Now, on to our fourth format. That is our Knights Table episodes. That's our masculinity-based format. Talk about things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, what it really is, fatherhood, the impact it's had on our lives as well, male topics in general, and how important men really are to society and the benefit they can bring. Now, guys, keep in mind, I'm 26, Wurtz is 26, Mitchell is 24, our producer. So saying that, we are not at the top of the mountain, and will never be, because we'll never be a perfect man. The only perfect man to ever walk the earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our fifth format. That is our guest format. We sit down with an entrepreneur, fitness professional, athlete, doctor, somebody with a great story. Anybody that brings you value is what we're aiming for. We learn a lot from those episodes. You guys sure as hell will also learn a lot from those episodes. Now, our final thing to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
What's up, you average Kamala supporter?
I'm just disguising myself with the bucket hat right now. I'm going incognito.
I think the bucket hat might be a little small on you.
Yeah, it did. Granted, I did get it in 2020. So
Did your head
maybe
go
my
that
dome's
much?
just, it's my IQ's gone crazy since then.
Although you might have had a buzz cut still in 2020.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
true. Yeah, I did have shorter hair then for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like fluctuating between the two. Yeah.
Well, because see the real men in the room get the buzz cuts with the face.
Maybe it's a tumor.
Us?
No, him.
Oh,
Maybe that's why his head got bigger.
Well, you better knock on wood. That's holy shit.
damn. Even Oliver's looking at us like, what the heck?
Man, that dog is stupid.
Yeah.
Man, anyway,
Damn.
we don't want to spend too much time on it. But what was I gonna say? I was gonna say how not my head grew, my IQ grew. It wasn't related to that at all. Yeah, doesn't matter. Anyways,
Obviously not.
real men. Oh, yes, I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that. Wow, got lost there. But I was gonna say that you were like the real men. Well, the only guy on testosterone support is your boy in this room.
Maybe we don't need it.
See, that was the comeback I was like expecting. I was like, he could say this, and I was like,
We have
shit.
so many microplastics in Wurtz and I system that we have
our
our own.
balls.
Yep.
We have superhero powers now.
Yep.
It's all the fluoride.
Wurtz and I
calcifying your pineal
Wurtz and I
gland.
actually, we're starting a new superhero group. It's not called the Avengers. It's called the Averagers. That's what we're called.
Oh man.
What would be the Hulk equivalent of an averager?
a twink.
The random dude from your gym who doesn't do leg day, but
Oh,
looks like
let's go. That's a good one.
looks like a straight barrel up top, and then you scroll down.
Chicken legs.
Larry the Lobster.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, the Averagers.
That's
Okay.
good. I don't know if you've been thinking about that one for a while, but he's been dropping jokes in our group chats to us lately. I don't know what.
Oh yeah, why don't you say your joke from today, or just before we?
Yeah, before we hop in.
Because this joke has a lot to do with the post-election talk. So
What, that he looks like Georgie?
no,
from
no,
It?
the one you texted to
the
us
golf
this
one?
afternoon. Yeah. It's very relevant.
So three
the
three
election.
golf
Yep.
clubs walk into a bar. The pitching wedge gets a pitcher of beer, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The putter gets a glass of whiskey. What does the third club get? A glass of water. Why? Because he's the driver. Just ass. Just buns.
And the reason
Mitchell's just preparing to be married and have kids, so
Yep.
he's preparing his dad jokes now.
it's like JT.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
JT's been preparing for a while.
Long time. I mean, he's been thinking of those jokes for an extremely
Been percolating since
High.
the 1800s or so,
yeah,
I'd
right.
say.
It's a very high number of years that he's been preparing.
He was. I did hear he was in Ulysses S. Grant's cabinet, right?
Oh,
When he was in office.
I did actually hear that too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And now he's running for local office in Missouri.
He's going backwards. That would be like if Trump ran for some local election in Florida.
Yes.
City council member.
Mayor of the town his golf course is in. Oh,
That would
man.
actually be so funny. Like if
Oh,
a former
absolutely.
president
It'd be a meme.
like
Yeah.
ran for mayor. Or,
They probably, funny enough, would be one, probably pretty solid at it, depending on the person. But also, it would just be very relaxing for them. All
Right.
things considered, compared to like what you have to deal with as the president.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how horrific the stress is of being the president. Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah. But Trump did win.
he did.
Trump won.
Mhm.
Pretty surprising. quite
Very,
honestly.
very surprising.
And I hate
Yeah.
saying that because it shouldn't be surprising, honestly, with just the way these last 4 years and beyond, quite honestly, have gone. And just the direction currently of the Democrat Party, which, you know, right now we're recording this on Wednesday the 6th, guys.
So the day after.
The election was yesterday. By the time you guys are hearing this, it'll obviously be, you know, almost a week since the election and since the results and everything came out. Although, even at this time, there's still a few states we're waiting on to hear from. I know Nevada, Arizona.
Arizona's got serious election efficiency problems.
Serious problems.
Serious.
Yeah. And Nevada, for that matter, too. Like, we are almost 24 hours from the polls closing.
Florida, just for reference here, Florida, the third largest state by population in the nation, counted their votes in 2 hours.
Yeah. And let's be honest. There's no reason every single state can't do that.
There's none.
No. It's
reason.
all electronic.
Yeah.
If it was still people counting them, okay.
Maybe.
Like, I get it. Maybe it's
just
not done.
hire more people. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, but still,
Right,
you're right.
right. But it just it blows my mind. I know we kind of talked about that last week on our episode, you know, pre-election, that it's mind-blowing the inefficiency of the election process as of recent history.
In the U.S. in general,
Yeah, right. Well,
as
right.
of the last 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because to my knowledge, to our knowledge, this was not an issue even in 2016 in Trump's first run, and then even before all that, Obama, the Bushes, whatever, like Clinton, it was never a problem.
Yeah, we might have disagreed with policies and whatnot.
Well,
that
for
type of
sure.
stuff, but
But I just
but
mean
the
getting
efficiency, yeah.
getting full results the night of how it should be. You know, it's mind blowing. After I voted yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet a guy named David Gregory, who was running for state senate here in Missouri, and we were kind of talking about that, just the results and whatnot. And he was telling me that they're saying his results may not be in until midnight of election night, and then he was like, you know, and for the president election, you know, it might not be in until tomorrow or the day after. And so we just went down that pathway of talking about how ridiculous it is that we don't get the results when there's plenty of other countries that are in worse spots than us that are able to do it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I think the argument people give back in 2020, because 2020 is the only year it's happened that was that bad. It was like
Right.
a week later in some places.
it was.
2020 is the only place that's happened, or the only time in history, in U.S. history, that's happened that at least we know of. They'll give the argument that COVID, mail-in ballots were a reason behind it and whatnot.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm sorry, that's just complete bullshit. Because
right.
somehow magically, they were going over the total counts for each year in the past 8 years. There was, last 6 elections, I should say. There was a count of 125 to 130 million total people that participated voting.
Which is sad because it's not even half of our country.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
That's also a good point. It's sad, but also there's that. The only year that differentiated between those last 6 elections was 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It was 155 million
Right.
people voted.
Right.
And then this year again was 129 million.
Right. Basically right on average.
Like,
yeah.
Something's not right here.
Sure. And we've talked about that plenty as far as the
of
2020.
course.
You know, tonight we're talking about, the post-election, what does this mean now, moving forward? And obviously for those of you that have listened to us for a long time, or maybe last week was your first episode, you can probably tell what side we're on, who we voted for,
would hope so.
considering he's got a MAGA bucket hat on. And so obviously this is the outcome we were hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Missouri, a lot of results that we wanted, some not.
Other than one main one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Which I was very surprised that the abortion one passed here.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really was, strictly because Missouri is such a red state, But actually, they were talking about this on Fox earlier. I was watching for a little bit, and a quick note on that, on Fox. It's funny because we've talked about, especially in the last several weeks, how like the old media appears to be dead, especially after the Joe Rogan episodes with with Trump, Vance, and Elon. And just how well those did, how substantial the numbers were, and how quickly the numbers were substantial. But it's kind of funny because Fox would absolutely be a part of that old media, but yet they're on their show talking about how the old media is dead. So I'm just like,
but again, that's by their standards, that's a smart play
for sure,
because it makes them avoid being grouped in with the other ones. But
exactly.
Even though you and I know,
right.
Like they fall into that category.
They are the one news station that I regularly pay attention to, and it's not even all that much, quite honestly. But
it's really just for like information. And then I flipped back between NBC and Fox last night.
Yeah.
But
they're the only station that I know of that actually does have Democrat anchors.
Correct.
A part of their shows.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, they were logical.
Absolutely, they were
during the election last night.
Yes,
yeah, of
absolutely. And the two I can think of, there's a male and a female. I can't remember their names.
Juan, and then there was another guy, and then there was a female.
Yeah,
I forgot Juan. I know Juan because Juan's been around.
Right,
for
he's been
years.
around for a long time.
Yeah,
but I do always find that interesting. That they're able to,
of course,
have those people on the show, and last night during the results shows, they at one point had a crowd of people. And what do they call it? Like voices of the citizens or something like that. It's like a segment. And so they have, I don't know, there was probably around 30 just normal people in the studio with them. And several of them were Democrats and several of them were Republicans, So I'm not saying that, clears Fox's name or whatever, whatever. But anyway, I just found that interesting that they're talking about how the old media is dead. But my original point.
So you pulled a me.
I did.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the thing is there's so much information around this cycle right now. That's why this all gets kind of jumbled in our heads.
Right.
A lot of times. And, that's kind of a sign of the last 4 years, especially. We've been just inundated with political stuff all the time and whatnot. Sure. But, I will say, and I want Mitchell to talk about that real quick because you were talking about how they were like social issues that got voted on. More of like the left-leaning style, like Amendment 3 in Missouri.
And that's where I was going with the point.
Yeah, social issues, but the candidates a lot of times were more red this time around. Right. You noticed that trend, I'm assuming, Mitchell, right?
Yeah, I think there's a couple in Florida and Arizona too. I think Arizona passed one, and yeah, same here. It's just I wonder if there's a reason statistically behind it. I don't know. If people are becoming more purple in a social fashion. But economy was such a big deal this time around that they believe Kamala was unqualified and that she didn't talk about any of that at all. Instead, just relied on going on The View and talking to celebrities
Right.
instead of
Talking to
campaigning
bimbos,
on policies.
Right. And I think that is your point, or I think your point is correct there, that the economy and immigration were so key to so many people this time around. You know, we were talking right before we started recording, you and I were, Gable, that this is the first time that Trump has won the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
the first time Republicans had in
a long time. Yeah.
It's like 20-some years. It was a while.
Yeah. And it's just because that many people are so done with, especially not only just the past 4 years, but again, like I said earlier, just a few minutes ago, the direction of the Democrat Party. You know, they are so out of touch with even their own support, you know, because like the dumbass college kids are easy to get because they don't know what to think.
Yep.
And if you tell them they're going to have free college and you're going to tell those college girls that they can get abortions and all this stuff, they're going to vote for you. You're going to hit the emotion and you're going to get those votes. But outside of them, I'm talking like the generational Democrats, people that like are around our parents' age or older or maybe slightly younger that have voted Democrat forever and they believe in the Democrat Party and their policies and whatever. Even those people are like, this is not us. This isn't the Kennedys, you know? And it's like we had 8 years of Obama, and then we had Clinton in there too before him, obviously. Not right before, but before Obama.
Bill, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Bush,
now these 4 years of Biden, and it's like we are not better off. Like my wallet is hurting. You know, my insurance payments are crazy.
Yep.
The grocery bills are crazy. The gas bills, everything we've talked about is crazy. I can't keep doing this. You know what I mean? We can't keep doing this. And no matter how much they might say they're okay with the immigration how it is right now, which honestly most of them say or do admit that it is a problem. But
they started admitting it was a problem in the last like 1 or 2 months.
Yes.
Yeah, leading up to the election.
Because it's getting out of hand. You know, it's getting out of hand and people are being affected. Thankfully, knock on wood, here in Missouri, it really hasn't been a massive issue. It hasn't to where where we've seen other states having massive problems like Texas, California, obviously the stuff in Ohio that was happening. And I'm sure there's other states, I'm missing there, but
supposedly St. Louis though is having issues. We're bringing in a lot of immigrants right now.
And that could be,
that's downtown. Yeah.
Right. And which that's, a half hour down the road, which is obviously very uncomfortable.
Yep.
But we're not making the national headlines for stuff here in St. Louis right now, but so many people are so done with it and they're fed up. And it's like, no, straight up like, no.
Yep.
And so I think either those Democrats, I don't know that a bunch of them voted for Trump necessarily. However, the black male vote was much more towards Trump than it was in the past. It still wasn't a majority.
They've gotten like what? Usually like 10 to 11% of black men vote for Republican or something like that.
Yeah, and this time it was 25%.
It was up at 25?
That's the last one I saw.
So, because one of the counts I saw was at like 17%, which is still an increase.
Yeah,
for sure,
absolutely.
Even if that's the case. But not the point there, of course. But your point is correct.
Right, which that's a big deal.
Yeah. Which is very interesting, though, that it's only that much of an increase, even if it is to 25%.
Right.
That's still very disheartening because the Democrat Party has essentially screwed over black people in inner cities for the last 70 years.
Long time.
Yeah, I mean, long time.
Right.
That's not even including, back before Jim Crow and slavery and all that stuff too.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. Like that's a very confusing headline still to me. The fact that it's not more like 60-40.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
Like
would think.
that's what I would expect. Now, black women were, I think, 90-10 still.
Yeah, it was.
Kamala, of
Yeah.
course, So like that's unsurprising.
A lot of the white women stayed with Trump.
I did see
even
that.
Even though that's who Kamala kept saying, and their side of things kept saying, it's like, they ran that deceive the husband ad.
The brunch liberal people.
Absolutely.
They were going after them big time. Yeah.
And it didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah, it was like 62%, 61% were white women voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
Right.
And then
right.
white men was like 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hell
super
yeah.
high.
I was like, let's go.
Which and like my dad and I were talking early in the night. It's like, why do they feel the need to break it down into all these subcategories? It's just another way to divide us. And that was Fox doing that. It's like, it doesn't really matter. Yes, are there certain things and certain ideas and certain data points that maybe they do matter and they are something to pay attention to? Yes, but more so to the campaigns. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't really care about it as part of the public. Maybe for the campaign, sure, because then you can dictate what states and what cities, what communities you go to. I get that. Like both Trump and Harris spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania because they knew how important of a state that was, and it clearly paid off for Trump, and so I don't know. I think all the subcategories, it's just, like I just said, it's another way that people are divided.
I do, to a degree, see some use in it, though, because it can be a cultural call out to a certain degree, too.
Sure.
Because as we've talked about, we've, like, for example, a statistic that's tracked around the country is single motherhood households or single parenthood households, and blacks are a large percentage of that, large percentage of that statistic, so to speak.
Right.
And so that's like something to point out. It's like, hey, this would solve a lot of issues right now, because I believe they're also, I think African Americans are also the lowest earning demographic in the United States too, I believe. It's either them, it's between them and Hispanics, I believe, are at the bottom. But so that could be something where you like look at that and it's like, hey, like this is an easily solvable issue. Start encouraging really fatherhood in the black community, start encouraging parenting in the black community and whatnot, and it could be a really big thing.
Right.
And again, they'll tell us too, if we're talking about that, just it's two white dudes talking about it, shut up. It's like, okay, then you got to solve the issue yourself.
I was going to say, right, then you go do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because we're the only ones talking about it.
We're trying to give you solutions or at least ideas.
Exactly.
And that's, that.
So that's where my point was, is like demographics can be useful to a certain degree.
Right.
To at least keep an eye on. And the thing is too, is to a degree, it's also interesting. Because of the what was the other one we saw that I sent you?
Married and unmarried women.
Married and unmarried women, exactly.
Yeah.
Married women were at 50% for Trump.
It might have even been higher than that.
I think
not like 90.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking it was like 50 to 55, somewhere in that range. But
yeah,
either way, and then unmarried women were like 35% Trump or 37%, like 60+% Kamala.
Right.
And that tells you a lot there too.
Sure.
So it's another statistic to divide into demographics that tells you a lot and gives you an idea of things, and how hypothetically, now not every married woman has a good leader that she's married to, of course. Sure. But a higher percentage do. So the ones that do have good leaders tend to vote in a very logical direction, aka the way of Trump in this scenario.
Right.
So it's an interesting statistic to track, is my point. I find it intriguing, but you're right. It's a lot of times it's so pushed that it just puts us at each other's throats even more than we need to be.
Right.
Because race relations through like essentially the like Bush years at that point in time, especially after 9/11, everybody was on the same page at that point in time. Those 10 years or whatever leading up to Obama and whatnot, our race relations weren't even a topic then. It was just like, we're on one side, let's take out these people and whatnot.
Yeah.
We're for America. Whatnot. But then Obama came along, the Ferguson thing happened, et cetera, and all of a sudden race relations have been set back entirely since then.
Super set back.
It's an interesting thing to track that, because it's like, we have this, in quotations, melting pot, in our country and whatnot, where there's so many different cultures that having demographic lets you also track the cultures to a certain degree.
Definitely, yeah.
So,
yeah, well, and obviously the Republicans were able to flip, I want to say it was 4 seats in the Senate, 3 or 4.
3 or 4, I think. Yeah, you're right.
Because now the Republicans are up to 52 seats. And again, at the time of this recording, not all results are in, but obviously that can be confirmed that Republicans will have the majority in the Senate. And again, at this point right now, the Republicans are leading in the House, but there's still a lot of seats that are left to come in. So there is a possible path for the Democrats to have a majority in the House. However, the path looks more encouraging,
unlikely
for the Republicans. So there is a possibility that all 3 major branches of government are going to be Republican. Now, on that note, we've said this in past episodes. It's been a while, but we've said this in past episodes. It's not always a good thing to have all red or all blue and all 3. That can be too much. However, I think the issues right now that we have in this country regarding the economy, regarding immigration, regarding inflation, which obviously goes into the economy, war, whatever else, I think right now that could be a good thing. Because when Trump was in office the first time, a lot of the stuff he wanted to get done could not because he didn't have Congress on his side.
Not to mention the people he had around him.
That's a huge point
which
as
is
well.
a whole nother like topic for us to talk about there.
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully this time around, literally on day one, a lot could get done. And not just through executive orders, because even Mitch and I, we were talking earlier tonight that executive orders are just so stupid.
They're bullshit.
Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, to give absolute power to whoever the president is, it's not a good thing. It is not a good thing. But that really shouldn't be needed, and that's encouraging, whether it's the wall being built and finished.
That's even more than the economy right now, my number one thing.
I think so too.
Because the lowest counts of illegal immigrants are at 11 million right now, but it's more than likely it's like 20 plus million.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the economy, with prices, especially goods, and they were talking a little bit about this too on the news. I've even seen some stuff on Twitter, but the thing with the prices is it's going to be tough to get them to come down because those companies have seen that people are still willing to buy the stuff at those prices. Now, where that can be fixed is people can have more money in their pocket. And that's the big one, is having more money in your pocket, more money to spend, more money to stimulate the economy naturally, not just by printing a ton of money, like what's been done here in the past 4 years, which is why prices have gone up on everything, which is why we all have less money in our pocket. And so it'll be very interesting to see how he's able to navigate that problem, because it's not just going to be, okay, you lower your prices. It has to start with manufacturing prices going down, transportation prices going down, whether that's boats, 18-wheelers, so gas, fuel, diesel, things like that, farm equipment, all of that has to go down. Then the prices in the stores that we see will then go down. It's not just, I don't even know. It's not just, okay, Lay's, you're lowering your prices on your bag of chips.
Yeah.
We're
stopping price gouging.
Exactly.
Which is what part of what Kamala talked about being one of her only policies she even talked about was like stopping price gouging. It's like that's not okay. Like you're not a dictatorship. You can't just come in and tell a private company to do this with their pricing and whatnot. Yeah.
Right. That's capitalism.
Because guess what? The company by the free market is going to decide what these people will pay.
Exactly.
If Lay's priced their chips at $8 for a tiny little bag, people wouldn't buy it.
No.
It's that simple.
Or even, like First Form. If they were going to charge $100 for a tub of protein, I'm not using First Form protein anymore.
Exactly.
I love the company, but I can't afford $100 for a protein. The 60 that it is already is already pretty steep.
It's a chunk.
Come on, Andy, help us out a little bit there, buddy. Although we just admitted that we would pay it. So
can you tell we're not sponsored by First Form? We'll say stuff like that.
Sponsor us.
I was down.
Their move.
Yeah,
we made the first.
We
move.
just put the ball in their court. That was just a great way to deliver it.
Oh man. But so that'll be very interesting to see how that problem is navigated and how that is fixed. As soon as the stock market opened up this morning, I was watching live and it was up.
It was booming.
Oh yeah. Substantially, which is awesome. I mean, that is a good thing. And anyone that tries to disagree with that and tries to say it's not because of Trump, I mean, you are a full-blown idiot. There's really another word I would really like to use there.
I mean, it is back. You'd say it.
It's just all day long, I know you've seen it too, but like the people on Instagram that are clearly not Trump fans, all the shit they're putting on their stories, like they're just going through it. I mean, they're just having a bad day.
It's so funny because like the thing is, if Kamala would have won, we're like, okay, we got to go to work.
Exactly. You wouldn't see us posting that type of stuff on our stories.
No.
And it's just like
we're like, looks like we still got to make shit happen.
Exactly. And it's like they are such sore losers. And I will say
they're pussies.
I mean, I literally and I will say, Kamala's speech today, her concession speech, was not. The tone was not sore loser. It wasn't
It wasn't start a riot for me.
No,
it was
it
peaceful
wasn't.
transfer, right?
It was. It was. And, she said, as soon as she walked out there, she said, "Good afternoon." I'm not even kidding, dude. It was probably like 17 times before she started her speech. She just kept saying, "Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon," like waving and doing her clapping and stuff. I'm just like, holy cow. I mean, how many times is she going to say good afternoon?
Yeah, she's a painful watch. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
It's like, just get to the teleprompter, please. Like, just read it. Read your speech.
I mean, I'll tell you this. At least we would have known that if Kamala would have gotten in, it would have been the 10,000 people she appointed and then the bureaucracy running the government for. Like, we would have known who was running the government. It would have been Kamala.
Correct.
I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, she ain't bright enough to do it.
No, just like Biden. It's the same thing. And
poor Joe.
Yeah.
Base Joe.
He helped get Trump elected. There's no doubt about it.
What was it?
He voted for Trump.
I called him all garbage. I hate that bitch.
It's all yours, Don.
Those memes were killing me.
He
dude.
probably voted for Trump.
Oh,
He probably voted for
him. You see, we called him for a meeting. He called him to like congratulate him or something.
To meet him at the White House. Like, it's like, you guys gonna have a beer or well, Trump doesn't.
Somebody photoshopped them having a smoke session in the back of a car, smoking weed. Oh, it was so funny. I was dying laughing.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was incredible.
I hope that happens.
Me too.
Like, that would be
down.
amazing.
I'm down. I'll be honest with you. Like, we probably should still investigate him and arrest him, but But not to get too lost in the weeds there, but
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier too. First time around for Trump, he had a bunch of terrible people around him, bad advisors.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They didn't have his best interest or the country's best interest in their minds.
Right.
And at least right now and through his campaign, it doesn't appear like that's going to be an issue again. They're talking about his campaign manager. I can't remember her name, but she might be the chief of staff. He has not announced that yet or anything like that. However, there is a strong possibility that it could be her. I can't remember her name. Mitch, maybe you could just look that up. Trump's campaign manager, she may be the chief of staff.
I believe, if I'm correct, I heard really good things about her too.
Yeah,
like you were saying. So yeah.
And then, we should be seeing RFK involved in the health side of things, which is so encouraging. I mean, it seriously is so exciting.
That's probably the thing I'm most excited about in his cabinet.
Absolutely, without a doubt, because that's where a lot of our country's problems can be fixed, is starting with the health aspect. We know this. That's our roots. That's what we talk about. That's what we do, and so...
You said it's a woman?
Yeah.
Susie Wiles? Does that sound right?
Maybe.
Could have been another guy. I know they were considering a man for press secretary too.
Chris La Savita?
It might have been the first one. It might have been Susie. Yeah. It was a woman that they were referring to earlier. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it's super exciting, super encouraging that we finally have a politician that appears to care about the public health and care about the food, care about big pharma.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned it earlier. Big pharma, the heads of the big pharma agencies were calling a meeting together, like an emergency meeting today.
It was literally on this November 6th, Wednesday. It was literally at 1 p.m. Like the top 5 pharmaceutical companies earning wise, the CEOs all had an emergency meeting.
Yeah.
They called it.
I mean, you got to imagine.
There was a lawyer that literally like went on record to this particular reporter and literally said that there's a lot of panic.
I'm sure there is, because
TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Absolutely, as it should be. He's already said one of the first things he wants to do is to ban pharmaceutical ads, which is huge because we're one of 2 countries in the world that allow it.
New Zealand is the other one, yeah.
Exactly.
Apparently New Zealand barely has a lot of restrictions on it though anyways. So, compared to us.
But get rid of that mostly because I'm super annoyed by them. Like, they're just like super cheesy to watch.
They're so cool. Oh my gosh, dude. The actors they put in them suck.
Oh yeah.
They might be paying them like $20 to show up for the ad or something like that. And just be like, oh yeah, you're gonna get on TV.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like go do a candy bar or like milk or something.
Prairie Farms ad. I mean, Prairie Farms is gas, but not the point.
Good chocolate milk.
Yeah,
very, very
of
solid.
course. Phenomenal chocolate milk.
That's very, very exciting. You know? And then do you have anything else on that?
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Then if Elon is involved, which he has said that he wants him involved in some way, I think that could be extremely encouraging as well. Again, it's these outsiders. We talked about this a little bit last week. as well. So I know we're covering some of the same points, but it's okay. I think that's very encouraging, and I'm very interested to see what he can do.
From what I understand about Elon, and then there was talk he possibly would be paired with Ron Paul, which is Rand Paul's father.
Okay.
Rand Paul, from
No,
Kentucky.
of course.
Ron Paul, when he was in office, we weren't voting at the time that he was in
Gotcha.
office, but he was apparently unbelievable. That's like the only senator saying stuff that should be said, like outside the box stuff, like against pharmaceutical companies, against, big war, that type of stuff,
I didn't know
et cetera. Like this guy he's Republican, but he's a beast. So there was talk that him and Elon would be paired together in this Department of Government Efficiency. And I'm like,
it sounds awesome.
They're going to go in and cut 75% of the employees out of our bureaucracy. Do you realize how life-saving that would be for us as citizens? We are in a chokehold. They're literally killing pet squirrels. That's where we're at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but the point is like they allow 20 million illegal immigrants in, but they kill your pet squirrel.
Right.
If somebody came in and killed my parents' dogs, or if somebody hurt Sadie,
she might hurt him back. Quite honestly.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
she can box.
She's scary.
Oh,
honestly,
yeah.
Whenever she doesn't know it's me at the door, she goes at me, and I'm like,
she does. Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's awesome.
I'm so sorry, Sadie. But dude, like that is the definition of government inefficiency.
Absolutely.
Is when it comes to like the peanut the squirrel bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like if we get in and Elon does what he did with Twitter.
Okay. Was it you that sent me the video today? Of the two guys talking about Elon when he bought Twitter.
Yes.
Walks in, they had, 7,500 employees.
They had 7,500. It was Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah.
And Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan.
For some reason. He's literally a UK citizen. Like, stop talking about our government, but whatever. Yeah.
He does that a lot.
Yeah.
But
he loves talking about our guns.
Yeah.
It's like Piers. Literally,
we're better than you.
Literally, we're 20 times better in your country. Like,
but day one, he walks in, he fires half the people. Another half of that half quits the next day.
1,250 or whatever it was. Yeah.
So they were down to, what was it, like
2,500.
2,500 employees. And guess what? Twitter runs great.
Oh, apparently, like it was insane. Like Elon literally talked about this. I don't think it was on the recent Joe Rogan podcast, but he talked about it publicly on X all the time, where the efficiency didn't even change a beat.
No, I mean, we didn't notice it.
5,000 employees, and it didn't change a beat.
Right.
That's the definition of one, because you see it in corporate companies too. Like I'm sure you see it at certain levels in like Amazon or whatever, or something like that.
Sure.
Or who knows? Like any of the corporate companies you can think of, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, like they have DEI departments. Like that's useless.
Right.
It's useless. So it's a good example of complete inefficiency in corporatism, but it's also, like we've talked about, the biggest corporation is our government.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have 12 million people that are federal employees, maybe 2 million for sure employees, 10 million like contractors or so, let's say, you keep 200,000 contractors and then you fire everyone but like 300,000 at most employees.
Yeah.
And I would bet you money everything would get easier for the American people.
It would.
And again, I'm just putting out numbers, of course. I don't actually know the numbers of what would be effective here.
Right.
But the point is like, I guarantee they will go in, if they do this right, Elon and Ron Paul, let's say it's them. If they go in and do it right and they cut 50%, we won't notice a thing.
Correct.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, what we will notice, that's a great place to start for getting the economy back.
Exactly.
Because that's more money in our pockets. And
no more IRS bullshit.
No more IRS stuff, no more DEI departments like you just mentioned, whether it's in corporate companies or in the government, because we saw it with the Secret Service. It's like, what is that? Like, what? These are the people that are supposed to protect our government officials, which, by the way, matters a lot.
Chubby women.
But seriously,
literally
though,
who they hired.
I don't care. Like, even if that was Biden, I mean, seriously, even if that was Biden,
I wouldn't want
it. Would be like, that is not okay.
Why do you have that around him?
Exactly.
Incompetent soldiers around him, essentially.
Exactly, because regardless of what side you're on, if it's the opposite side that has the presidency, it is not a good thing for the president to be killed.
Correct.
It is not a good thing. Political violence is a very, very, very bad thing.
As could be shown in things like Rome, for example.
Correct.
And every past country in history,
Yeah.
when political violence has been had, it results in pure chaos.
Yes, it does. And when people are rooting for that, like they were when the first attempt was done on Trump, you deserve to go to hell.
Oh, yeah.
You deserve to go to hell because you're actively rooting for someone to lose their life just because they're a opposite side of you,
it's
president
not like
candidate.
you're trying to take out a pedophile or a murderer. Or
correct.
like that.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Kill them.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even a discussion.
100%. Like violent criminals, no. Yeah, it's
Yes,
gone.
but just because you don't like a certain presidential candidate, you're okay with them being killed on live TV in front of thousands of people? Like, no. That is way past the line.
Yeah.
Way past it.
Yeah.
So, but that's just another example of the DEI stuff, which, again, Trump has said, like, that will be no more.
Yeah, axed.
You know?
Yep.
We're gonna have men in men's sports. If you suck at that sport, guess what? Get better. Get better. Work harder.
Guess what? Eat more protein and train harder.
Exactly. Exactly. We're gonna
outwork your competitors. Bring the competitive spirit back in this country.
Exactly. Which is something that, I didn't, last week on our episode, you asked me, why Trump over Kamala, and we talked about some different points there, but that's another one, is the competitiveness. Because right now we don't have that. You and I do, the three of us do.
Oh, sure.
And plenty of guys around us and plenty of people still do have that, but the country doesn't.
Why do you think I get so mad that I shoot 20 more than you in golf? I mean, seriously.
I mean, we should go play hockey so that you can just skate circles around me, like just one time, just give you some confidence.
I guess that's very true because we played golf and then I played, football. I guess we're pretty even in.
Sure,
but not the point. But then we also played softball.
Right, I was gonna say we played like my sports.
Oh man, it was bad. Oh man,
I pitched one time to you, 3 pitches, and I think you turned your pants brown.
Yeah, they were gray. They were gray before, and then they came out brown.
It was weird. There was a big brown spot.
My
on the
knees are like
backside.
shaking and stuff like that. Yeah. But yes, competitive spirit.
Yes, and so we'll have men in men's sports. We'll have women in women's sports. We're gonna have men in men's bathrooms. We're gonna have women in women's bathrooms. Like, back to normalcy. The fact that we even have to say we're going to have those things should tell you all you need to know that we're too far gone.
Yeah.
And again, that is the Democrat Party being out of touch, even with their supporters, because, again, not counting the young or the white liberal women or
the low IQ ones.
That
one too.
Or the college kids or whatever, the people that aren't aware of how the country works and the world works. Not that we're super aware, but we're more aware than that.
I mean, there's
okay.
One of your neighbors we're much more aware of as well. It's like our neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. That guy willingly ran for state representative, like, as a Democrat. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you have a young kid. Like, you have a baby. You have a wife. Like, that's what you're doing. Anyway, so excluding that crowd of the Democrat Party, again, back to that older Democrat Party, like, are you really going to tell me you're okay with that? You're okay with a man in the women's restroom or locker room? You're okay, like that volleyball player, the dude? Like, you're okay with that when he spikes down a ball and hits the girl in the head and she has a traumatic brain injury?
Broke her
and has paralysis.
Yeah.
Forever now.
Yep.
And it's like, are you really going to tell me you're okay with that? Like, you're okay with that to the point that you're going to continue to vote for that? I don't think that happened this time. I really don't.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's a good thing I wasn't a father at that game.
100%. There's no doubt. But back to the point that is relevant to us here, like, I don't think that happened. Not that those people were openly saying that they're voting for Trump and they're going to vote Republican, but
they might not even voted.
They may not have. And thankfully, there was such an amount of people that came out to vote and that voted for Trump that they couldn't cheat it.
Yeah, the number was at like 72 million plus.
Yeah.
Last time I checked,
yeah.
Which is awesome.
Awesome.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah. I truly do wish it was still higher than that.
Yep.
But can't complain.
Christians showed up more than we expected them to.
That's one I hadn't seen yet, actually. That's a number I hadn't seen.
Evangelicals, it was shown that they came out like they were up by like increase of them actually participating was up by like 5 to 10%, I believe, or somewhere in that range.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah,
there was definitely a big increase there. Now in Missouri with Amendment 3, I think a lot of them stayed home when they shouldn't have. Is my personal thought.
Yeah, especially on an abortion thing, because if you're truly a Christian, because I think you and I were just talking the other day, just to us, like in the car or whatever, that there's a lot of people that go to church, a lot of people that say they are Christians, but they still vote more socially. And it's like, you can't have it that way.
Yeah.
You just can't.
I mean, social issues are essentially one of the most talked about things in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Like adultery, homosexuality, understanding gender, male and female dynamics. I mean, you could go on.
How a home works.
How a home works.
Yeah.
100%. All those things are very obviously talked about in the Bible.
Right.
How babies are a gift from God.
Yeah.
And again, we can disagree about the point and the start of life. That's garbage. It's just garbage. And like, it's pretty obvious, like what it says about social issues in the Bible. It's pretty clear if you even read it a little bit.
Right.
And you know why the Bible has that in there too? Is because the people that wrote the Bible understand that social issues affect societies.
Correct.
If there are moral social values in a country, it is more effective as a country. The economy is going to be better. People are going to work harder. People are going to care about their neighbors more, which is huge. A forgotten about thing right now as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're so all over the place, divided wise between this religion, between this race and whatnot. There's no unity at all. And because nobody can agree on social issues, there's also no unity. So you don't trust your neighbor and whatnot. So anytime it talked about in the Bible, like any society you see that crumbles, social issues is the first thing they talk about.
Right.
Babylon's a great example of that. It was complete degenerate cesspool.
Yeah.
And it completely crumbled.
Yeah.
Because of that reason.
Right.
So voting on social issues is never a smart decision in this scenario.
Right.
And so that's kind of part of my closing stuff. But closing wise, like, I mean, my thought process is like, one, in the next 3 months leading up to the election, especially, one, be aware that there still could be
chaos,
rogue people who do stuff.
Yeah.
That come out of nowhere, maybe assassination attempts. I don't know. I'm very much so speculating right now. Just be aware, especially like stay strapped, stay prepared, all the whole 9 yards. Like be prepared if something does go wrong. And that goes for anybody, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like that's why you should have prepared food. That's why you should have water on hand, all that type of stuff.
Ammo,
guns, etc. Plans,
generators,
100%,
things like that.
So the whole 9 yards there. Be ready in case anything does happen. God forbid that anything happens. Like, let's hope to God that does not happen.
Right.
Nothing happens up to the election.
Right.
Be aware of that. But then after that point, it's time to get to work.
It's time to get to work, and we as a citizenship cannot be
apathetic.
Thank you. That's the word I was going to say. Yep. Cannot be apathetic and cannot just be like, all right, it's January 7th. I think the inauguration is the 6th, I believe, maybe the 5th or something like that. It's like, okay, Trump's in there. We're all good. No.
Absolutely.
No. It's time for him to get to work, for sure. It's time for the new Congress to get to work. It's time for his cabinet to get to work. It's time for us citizens to, one, hold them accountable, and for us to get to work as well.
It's time for you to put the chips down. It's time for you to start working to make money. It's time for you to start looking at being a father, a mother, building the society back to what we needed to be.
Yes. It's time for you to buy untapped training.
I mean, it's not like that would harm them by any means. That's
No,
for sure. It would actually assist you in every way possible.
Correct. It would just make you better.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys are into that or not. If you are, hit us up.
If you are, that's the clients we want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, that's a great point that you made earlier. We've got two months and change still of Biden and Harris. They could absolutely wreak havoc on the United States in those 2 months and leave Trump an even bigger mess than what he's already going to walk into.
Or we think of the deep state might be involved
in
whatever, in quotations, whatever the deep state is, but we have an idea.
Correct.
A lot of our bureaucracy that is kind of hidden, black ops, that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows they're involved in? We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah. And so the awareness factor is extremely important from here on out, forever, for that matter.
Yep.
But
there's no taking your foot off the gas pedal. This is why we're in the position we're in now as a country.
Yes.
Because we took our foot off the gas pedal.
It was all brakes.
100%.
Yes.
I mean, as we've talked about for the last 50 to 70 years, it's been essentially like a slow braking cycle until it's been really bad these last 10, 15 years.
Right.
So you maintain the standards from here on out and increase the standards from here on out.
Absolutely.
For everybody.
Without a doubt.
Across the board.
Yeah. And I do think too, I truly hope there's no assassination attempts on Trump, on Vance, on Biden, on Kamala, whatever. Like, again, we already covered that point a few minutes ago. But several of the left news stations and outlets and things like that, and then even Kamala today during her concession speech, which it never necessarily was. I mean, I guess it kind of was through her campaign. You know, the rhetoric of dictator, that he's a dictator, or that he's going to ignore the Constitution or whatever, because that was a point she made actually in her speech, was that, you know, we don't need to hold our alliance, or however she worded it, to a president or to a party, but to the Constitution. And it's like, yeah, obviously. However, the way she was trying to make it sound was that Trump was going to like abolish the Constitution. And it's like, no, but that's what you were going to do. Again, accuse the other side of what you are doing to cause confusion, just like we talked about.
It's the exact misdirection tactic.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. Like the Trojan horse tactic is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I was going with that was even those left news outlets were making the point of, okay, like it might be time for us to stop with the name calling, to stop with the putting down the people that support him, putting him down and all this. It's like, yeah, no shit. You've been doing it for 10 years to this guy and his supporters.
I'd recommend you stop doing it also.
Exactly.
Just you know, as a precaution for yourself.
Right. You have Biden calling Trump people, Trump supporters, garbage. You had Hillary calling them deplorables and all this stuff. You are calling
and that's just the starting line of it.
Correct.
Yeah, they think Trump supporters are just a bunch of stupid rednecks.
Exactly.
And that's
exactly that just drink beer and shoot guns.
Which how many times have we met rednecks, by the way, that are like stud muffins?
Absolutely.
Like most rednecks we met are studs.
Yeah, but there's also plenty that are like, oh, don't mess with me.
Sure.
Like, buddy, what are you gonna do? You're 100 pounds overweight. Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You're not gonna do anything.
And we've called that out before too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as we should.
But it's like, if that stuff truly does stop, I think the assassination attempts don't happen because, you know, you have these people that are clueless just about what they think, about who they are, whatever. And then they're like, well, I got to kill this guy then. If he's going to be a dictator, I got to kill this guy. And you got to think that that's a part of what happened in Butler with the first one on him, on Trump.
Either that or it's something more sinister.
Or it's something more sinister, which is definitely a possibility.
Let's hope it's just some rogue, weird, autistic kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Which the likelihood of that probably isn't very high.
It is low.
Because of how easily accessible like he was to the whole situation.
Again, go back to Trump assassination episode attempt for us.
Yeah.
Was that 128?
I have no idea. But
see if I nailed that.
Surely that was more than 11 episodes ago, right? That was in July.
Kind of crazy.
But anyway, as long as that stuff starts to cool down and stop, I think those types of things will be no more because they just saw what happened. Did you nail it? Yep. Attaboy.
Yep.
So 128 there.
July 22nd. Yep.
There you go. But we also saw what happened because of the red wave that happened across the board. You demonize men, especially for this long. You know, and we talked about
We're not going to let you stand for it.
No, and at a certain point, it's like, all right, fuck you. Like, I am going to vote.
It's at a certain point, it's like, let me pull my balls out and let's and like I'm going to show you what we're all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
because if you keep making fun of men, like you realize how much we do for society. Like I'm so tired of that rhetoric.
Yes.
We've been essentially shit on for the last I don't know how many years.
Right.
I mean, told that we're just like, you know,
we're the problem.
Old ball and chain, you know, like, man, like she's the boss.
Oh yeah.
You know, all that stuff. We're the problem. Men are this, they're the rapists in society. They're, you know, they don't protect anybody. It's like, what? Like,
right.
What world are you living in?
Right. Exactly. And because that has happened so much these last 10 years, finally, it pushed a lot of people past the breaking point. Yeah. A lot of people. And then you have Megyn Kelly giving a great 7 minutes on, I think that was their last rally, right? I think it was Trump's last rally.
I think it was in KC, I believe.
Oh, no, I think it was in Pennsylvania.
Was that one with Tucker you're talking about? Or no, you're talking about at the rally with Trump. Sorry, I was thinking of the one where she was sitting down with Tucker.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, this was the Trump rally. I believe it was his last rally, and I'm pretty sure it was in Pennsylvania. But He brought her up on stage. She talked for 7 minutes. I sent you the video, and it was an awesome 7 minutes from her. I mean, she killed it. I'm getting goosebumps right now because it was just like, that was so refreshing to hear from a woman as big and as popular and who has had plenty of issues with Trump.
I was going to say,
those two have gone at it many times, but she gave her reasons. She outlined exactly why she was going to be voting for Trump. It was for families. It was for men. It was for women. It was for men in men's bathrooms, women in women's bathrooms, etc. All those things. And it was just like, let's go. And I also think that is why the percentage of white women that voted for Trump was still so high, was because of people like her. I truly do believe that, you know?
Yeah.
The black women, they don't have, that I know of, they don't have any strong leaders that are black women because
Candace Owens, but she's...
Oh, that's actually a great point.
But she's demonized as essentially a Uncle Tom or whatever they call, whatever racist term they call black people who support Trump. Or,
yes. Yeah. You know, like Terrence Williams is one of the biggest like influencers I can think of.
Funny, dude.
He's super funny.
Oh,
yeah. You know, but whatever.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Antonio Brown should start a Twitter page together, huh? Good Lord.
Maybe. His Twitter page is so uncalled for.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just very refreshing. If you guys haven't seen that 7 minutes from her, I do encourage you to go watch it. Although we're past the election. However, that was just really refreshing to hear. You know, her fighting for, you know, someone that left Fox, someone that had plenty of issues with Trump the first time around. Even through this campaign, she was calling him out for certain things. Some stuff that you could agree with. Some stuff it was like, okay, Megan, like, relax.
You're nitpicking.
Yeah, you're not on The View. You know what I mean? Like, you're not those people. But
right.
Anyway, I really do think that this was the step in the right direction for the country. I know
a step.
Yeah, and that's all it is. All the other things we outlined earlier with the citizens, with the people around him, like that might be more important. But none of that happens without him getting in. So that's why that's the first step in the right direction. I know there's plenty of you that are listening and watching that might disagree with that. Plenty of people that we know that disagree with it and that are in some weird emotional, like sad state right now. It's like, you're gonna have to get over that. You just are. You're gonna have to get over it. Also, you didn't see us doing that when Trump lost. The only thing we were doing is questioning if the election truly happened how they said it did. Okay.
Correct. Very logical question.
Which is because you just find a bunch of votes and it's a vertical line for Biden. Like that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, Biden got 12 million more votes than Obama's highest number.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he totally got 81 million. But you're gonna have to get over it. That's the main point. You have to get past that because if we really want the country to do better, if you want to do better, you yourself, if you want to be selfish there, fine. You have to get over that.
You got to be involved too.
You have to be involved. You have to be willing to work. Just like people on the Republican side, you have to be willing to work with them.
Yeah, we didn't stop working just because Biden was in office.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, we continue pushing as hard as we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, we don't do enough oftentimes. So we've called ourselves out on that many a times too.
Yes.
But that doesn't just mean that essentially you people that agree or voted for Kamala in this scenario or disagree and whatnot, doesn't mean you just take your foot off the gas either. We want you to do well as well.
Right.
We want you to live a good life.
Yeah.
We want you to have a beautiful family and children and whatnot and be able to provide for them and all that stuff.
To flourish.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's what's so missed is like the vote for Trump is really just us looking for the country to flourish.
Right.
That's what it is.
Some of our closest friends don't agree with us on a lot of these things. Guess what? They're still some of our closest friends because that love and that care is still mutual between us. You know what I mean?
At least I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, right, right. And
we saw one of JT's former friends. You see that on his story? One of his former friends said, I can't believe, he literally DM'd JT and said, I can't believe that, you know, I used to be one of your closest friends and now you're a fucking idiot, is what he called him. And JT literally just screenshotted and put it in a story. He didn't say a word back to him. I'm like, dude, such a troll.
Oh, JT, I love you, man. All right, guys, that's episode 139. Share the show, okay? We not only want, but we need your support. We need your help spreading the message, spreading the videos, spreading the episodes. Anything you can do to help us grow is helpful, and we do encourage you, and we do ask that of you. And usually we have Q&A questions at the end of all of our non-guest episodes. We have a few different ways that we would like you guys to submit those to us. Number one, you can DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. You can also DM them to us individually. You can text them to us if you have our numbers. You can email them to us. Our email is extricationfitness@gmail.com. Extrication is right there on that beautiful flag behind Gable. I know it's a mouthful, so there's an email button in our Instagram bio and our Facebook bio. So if you want to, just click on that. It should take you right to your email app. And then you can also leave them in the comments of our Instagram posts or our YouTube videos. On YouTube, all of these podcast episodes are on there, along with our vlogs that we do as well. So you can leave them in the comments on those. Definitely go like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube videos. That also helps us grow. That literally takes about 7 seconds, I would guess, of your time. Just like posting it to your Instagram story, maybe not even 7 seconds.
Might be a high guess there.
But hey. But anyway, we ask those things of you guys. Submit those Q&A questions. All of them get sent to Money Mitch over there. He then picks one out that pertains to the episode itself. Sometimes it's just a question you have. Sometimes they're funny. They have nothing to do with the episode. And then sometimes even Mitch will just come up with a question on his own. With all that being said, that is episode 139. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.